What's good, my fellow GeoGeeks and MetaMappers? Spatial Ninja here, bringing you This Week in MetaMapping. First, let me start off by saying Happy New Year to all of my fellow GeoGeeks. I've taken the last few weeks off for the holidays, enjoyed some time with my family and friends, but it is a new year, so time to get back recording some videos for everybody. And putting out some great MetaWorld Maps content, as well as these MetaMapping videos. So, Happy New Year, and with that, let's jump into This Week in MetaMapping. So this week, we'll be covering a couple different articles. We've actually got two articles around connected car and smart vehicles. And we've got an article about an acquisition from HawkEye for an RF solution, a radio frequency solution that detects radio frequencies from satellite. That'll be our first article that we cover this week. And we've got an article from Esri blog about the top 10 stories from 2023. So be sure to stick around for that article. And just like last year, we'll continue this year with our MappyMemes of the week. All right, so if this is your first time watching our This Week in MetaMapping video, welcome to the MetaMapping channel. You can follow our MetaMapping videos as well as the rest of our videos on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can see all of our videos from last year, including all of our shorts. So it would be a great help if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this video as well. But let's jump into our first article of 2024. HawkEye 360 acquires RF solutions from Maxar Intelligence. So this was actually an article from 2023. I will cover a few articles from the end of last year since I was off. But our first article here is about HawkEye 360, who has announced the acquisition of a new RF solution from Maxar Intelligence, a provider of secure, precise geospatial intelligence. RF Solutions, the acquisition, was formed from Aurora Insight that Maxar also acquired in January of 2023. So this company and their product, originally built by Aurora Insight, then rebranded as RF Solutions, and was acquired by Maxar, has now been acquired by HawkEye 360. We can see here this quote from HawkEye: "Our existing satellites do very well at precise geolocation and characterization of signals." They're talking about radio frequency signals. "This technology from Aurora Insight team will allow HawkEye 360 to quickly scan gigahertz of bandwidth to efficiently map active frequencies at a regional level. We look forward to rapidly integrating these powerful capabilities and talented personnel into the company to further accelerate the value they bring to their clients." So what HawkEye 360 and Aurora Insight, what they specifically do is they detect radio frequencies using satellites. This allows HawkEye to be able to map what frequency is being used where by what provider. Since you only have so much radio frequency in the world, every wireless carrier like Verizon or AT&T owns and operates at a different spectrum frequency. And so HawkEye is now able to map those frequencies and where those frequencies are occurring all through satellites. So some pretty cool and interesting technology. So this is just a little announcement about that acquisition. But if you're in the telecom world, like I am, this is a really interesting solution to understand what radio frequencies are being used where. So our next two articles are all around connected car and autonomous vehicles. So this article from GeoWeek News Toyota, Orange, and HERE technologies successfully combined precise precision technologies. So this was a pilot project that HERE, Orange, and Toyota participated in that combined multiple precise positioning technologies to test if it is possible for an autonomous vehicle to respond to its environment in real time. More specifically, a possible scenario was chosen where an autonomous vehicle would have to make way for an emergency vehicle and warn other cars nearby of the approaching vehicle to avoid collisions. So I think we've all seen how our cars are becoming smarter, not quite full autonomous yet, but even my vehicle has lane assist and warnings based off of sensors within the car. But as we move more and more closer to that complete autonomous vehicle state, there's a lot that vehicle needs to be able to do, not just stay within the lanes, but also communicate with other cars that are around that vehicle. And in this use case, understand when an emergency vehicle was approaching so that autonomous vehicle could automatically move to the side to let that emergency vehicle pass. So it goes on to say that while GNSS technology helps to accurately position the vehicle on the road, this is complicated when there is no direct signal, for example, inside of a tunnel, right? So if you've got an emergency vehicle and your car is in a tunnel, you lose GPS, then how is this technology going to understand where you are in relation to that emergency vehicle? So for this project, higher accuracies were required to make sure which lane the car was in. This required centimeter level accuracy, whereas GNSS accuracies are not that accurate. To get this real-time centimeter accurate position of the vehicle under different circumstances, a different solution was needed. Okay, so what did they do? This provided a combination of multiple technologies, high definition GNSS positioning, coupled with vehicle dead reckoning, VDR, running on a remote platform at the edge. So it goes on to talk about this technology from here. So the combination was to test to see if the required centimeter accuracy position of the vehicle under different circumstances could be achieved. Additionally, low latency 5G wireless cellular technology and edge computing enabled testing and feasibility of the system in terms of processing onboard sensor data in real time in the cloud and returning the corrected position to the vehicle. So pretty interesting. We've heard a lot about edge computing and the role of geospatial technology in edge computing. So essentially, right, the location of this vehicle, whether it's coming from a traditional GNSS or from this high definition mapping and location based off of that, needs to communicate very quickly with other cars around it. So you can't send data all the way back to a server somewhere in the cloud based off of that high latency and in order to communicate with the other cars. So these vehicles will need to communicate with these edge compute devices on lampposts or street poles or other vehicles, and you're going to need to have that geospatial or spatial analysis done basically on the fly very quickly with low latency so that it can communicate very rapidly with the other vehicles around it. So it goes on to say that a successful pilot on a test track in France proved that the vehicle could be precisely positioned using Toyota sensor data and the corrected position signal from HERE. Additionally, Orange, who is a telecom in France, vehicle to everything platform, helps to warn vehicles nearby to avoid any possible collisions when a high-speed emergency vehicle is approaching. The pilot will provide some of the building blocks that Toyota will use to further develop its connected and autonomous vehicles. Very interesting use case for street data, this high definition street data from HERE, and vehicle positioning. And our second article, or actually our third article this week, is also around kind of smart vehicles. And this is from GIS Cafe. TomTom joins forces with Microsoft to bring generative AI into the vehicle. So for those of you who are not familiar with this term generative AI, it falls under that artificial intelligence umbrella, which encompasses, your AI, your ML and deep learning, and everything that goes along with that. Generative AI is very similar. Well, it is things like ChatGPT, right? Where you train these models, just like a Google search engine, to understand what you're putting in to the application and then return some sort of response or answer based off of what you're asking that generative AI to do. So if you're familiar with ChatGPT, what this article is stating is that they basically have brought ChatGPT-like technology into the vehicle. It goes on to say, TomTom, the location technology specialist, today announced that with Microsoft, it is bringing the benefits of generative AI to the global automotive industry. Leveraging Microsoft's advancements in AI, TomTom has developed a fully integrated AI-powered conversational automotive assistant that enables more sophisticated voice interaction with infotainment, location search, and vehicle command systems. Drivers can converse naturally with their vehicle and ask the AI-powered assistant to navigate to a certain location, find specific stops along their route, and vocally control onboard systems to, for instance, turn up the temperature, open windows, or change radio stations, all with a single interaction. So I think this is very cool because the infotainment systems inside of vehicles has been, in my opinion, trash for a very long time. Ever since they introduced the CarPlay technology Apple has, where you can have your kind of Apple CarPlay as your infotainment system, and you can easily pull up things like Google Maps or Waze, or use different radio apps on your phone directly through CarPlay. I've not used the built-in infotainment system. I think the maps, they don't provide the best directions. They don't have the real-time traffic. Although that technology has gotten better, it has traditionally been something that I've never used inside of my vehicle. I've always used CarPlay. So what they're saying here is that they're improving that technology. They're making it more like Alexa or Siri inside of your vehicle, that not only will pull something from the internet and give you a response, right? So if you use Siri through CarPlay, you ask, what the weather is or whatever it may be, it'll return that information, but you can't have it really do things with your car, like change the temperature, things like that. So now with this generative AI assistant, you'll be able to do things like, hey, I need the directions, how long will it take me, automatically pull up the directions in your infotainment system, and set temperature, change radio stations, and the system behind this that is understanding what you're saying is going to be getting smarter and smarter using this generative AI technology versus always either mishearing you, misunderstanding what you're trying to ask it to do and providing the wrong answer, or instead of turning up your air conditioning, it turns your heater on, things like that. So glad to see that this technology is going to be leveraging some of this generative AI and just getting smarter and smarter and smarter. So this article goes on to say that the solution integrates with Microsoft Azure's OpenAI service. OpenAI, which Microsoft acquired, is the same one that created ChatGPT originally. Also talks about some of the other Microsoft services that this technology leverages. We have a quote here from Microsoft: with this next generation of AI, we have a unique opportunity to accelerate innovation across the entire automotive sector, said Dominic Wee, Corporate Vice President for Manufacturing and Mobility at Microsoft. So pretty cool to see how generative AI is moving into something a bit more useful. I do use ChatGPT and variations of that to create images, but also to create text based off of verbal input or written input that I give into those generative AIs or ChatGPT. So comes in handy at times, but I think this is a true use case for the technology where it can be built into our vehicles. All right, so our final article this week. I know that there's been a lot more articles over the last few weeks, so I'll be sure to catch up and add some of those additional articles from the end of last year or the beginning of this week into our next This Week in MetaMapping. But wanted to keep today's episode a little bit shorter and sweeter. So we'll finish our articles this week with one from the Esri blog, which is actually about the top 10 stories from 2023. And as we'll go through these, I think a majority of these we've actually covered in MetaMapping. So be sure to check out our previous This Week in MetaMapping videos if you'd like to go through some of these articles in a deeper dive with myself. So the number one article here, which is a little bit close to my heart, being somebody who is in the telecom side and somebody who actually knows and helped the person they mentioned here, Boris. So the first article is Vodafone creates country-scale digital twins to engineer better networks. We've definitely covered this article. Boris Pitchforth, who is a Esri and ArcGIS user I've met and I would call my friend, is the lead architect at Vodafone. And we worked with him and his team to help put together this digital twin of their network for their RF team. Goes on to say, initially created the digital twin to offer a more detailed map of their network, but over time this evolved into a vastly smarter planning tool for their RF engineering teams. So last year, if there was one big trend that summed up 2023, I would say it was digital twin. Almost every article that we covered on this channel talked about GIS and digital twins. So number one article here is about digital twins. Second article, and we'll be sure to post this on my Twitter page, The Spatial Ninja. So you can go back and take a look at all these articles on your own time as well. But the second article, Mapping LA's Flood Risk at Unprecedented Detail Reveals Hidden Risks. The study carried out by Brett Sanders and his team at the University of California Irvine Flood Lab revealed a significantly higher flood exposure in Los Angeles than shown on U.S. government maps. The team used a geospatial modeling approach specifically designed for higher performance computing, enabling them to achieve a higher level of mapping detail. Oh, sorry about that. Looks like my video recording got cut off, but we're back up and running now. So our third article here from the top 2023 articles from the Esri blog, Portugal revamps wildfire resilience after devastating fires. Talks about high-resolution images from drones and helicopters that were integrated into maps for up-to-the-minute awareness of fire locations and behaviors. Number 4, the economic value of parks, New York City. The Trust for Public Land, TPL, conducted a study using GIS technology to measure the fiscal impacts of city, state, and federal parks within New York City. Number 5 here, modeling Pompeii. Archaeologists led by Professor Allison Emerson are using GIS technology to create detailed real-time digital twin of their excavation site in Pompeii. Another digital twin article. Number 6, New York City. Few cities are doing more to map and respond to rising waters. Increased threat to climate change demands a more sophisticated understanding of flood risks, particularly in vulnerable cities like New York. This understanding is being facilitated by advances in geospatial technology, which is being utilized to improve risk maps and prioritize investments in resiliency. Another article around understanding kind of climate change, flood, sea level rise. Number 7, in Florida, interactive maps tell the story of modern risk mitigation. Yet another article around risk. Florida's Division of Emergency Management, FDM, EM, used GIS technology to develop an interactive and user-friendly hazard mitigation plan. Number 8, a digital twin of ports and channels helps Army Corps maintain U.S. waterways. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers utilize various GIS-powered systems to maintain the flow of commerce along the Mississippi River, America's most essential inland waterway. The Corps has had to adapt to the increasing unpredictability of weather patterns, causing fluctuations in water levels. Another digital twin story. And number 9, Frisco, Texas finds success with a public safety digital twin. Digital twin, the situational awareness for emergency response SAFER platform in Frisco, Texas has enabled the city to maintain a live map of public safety incidents and personnel locations across police, fire, and transportation departments. We've definitely covered this article in This Week in MetaMapping. And number 10 on our list, putting the Maya civilization back on the map. Dr. Marcelo Canuto and his team at the Middle American Research Institute, MARI, at Tulane University have been using airborne LiDAR data and GIS technology to uncover over 60,000 ancient Maya structures in northern Guatemala. The technology allows them to penetrate dense jungle foliage and map out probable settlement sites, greatly expanding previous knowledge of Maya's geographic extent. Really cool usage of LiDAR technology here. So these were the top 10 stories from 2023, according to the Esri blog. So again, be sure to check out our previous This Week in MetaMapping. We've covered a lot of these articles, and we'll post this link on our X Twitter account, The Spatial Ninja, and you can check these stories out for yourself. Okay, so this has been This Week in MetaMapping. Now let's move on to our MappyMeme of the week. So our first MappyMeme of 2024 comes from GIS. Every time, just doing my best. Every time from Diana. I just always cannot pronounce her handle here. But just doing my best. And our meme, New Year's resolutions: conquer Earth, nap more. Nope, we're gonna map more. So I definitely resonated with this 2024 resolution. Let's all get to mapping. Let's have a very mappy year. And with that, if you do not follow myself, the Spatial Ninja, on X or on Twitter, be sure to follow myself, the Spatial Ninja. I'm always posting different articles on GIS and reposting different MappyMemes and all sorts of different content. So this has been This Week in MetaMapping. Again, Happy New Year to everybody. We'll be back with This Week in MetaMapping next Monday. And as always, stay mappy, my friends.